important to protect the space, and it's something that I take with the highest concern. So this is the way I'm going to explain it to you. The room is completely filling with God's white light. I'm starting to see faces and people are starting to step in, okay? I'm going to start getting names, and my guides are going to start lining people up. Usually they line them up in groups of 4 or 8, so I'm going to start saying names. So if you recognize the name, you tell me. I will be coming to you, I promise. And I'm already feeling your grandmother. I'm in the bathroom, and she walked in the bathroom, and I said, honey, there's a mother energy just behind you, and I'm feeling her, and she wants to talk to Mary, which she said was her mom, and she's saying to me that there's health concerns. So that is her mom, and she was validating her daughter's name, Mary. So I'm just going to go ahead and come over here first as they start to line everybody up. She's already standing right over your right shoulder behind you, okay? And she was telling me that it's your first time as well. Perfect. I don't know or feel. I don't feel like she was necessarily the person that you were expecting. Do you understand it? Perfect. Because there's a line actually forming behind her. She's saying to me that she's been gone for a while. Okay, perfect, good. Now, they'll say while category just to be very basic. Sometimes they'll say it's a recent passing, which to me is under 3 years. I know that she's been gone past that as far as years. It's just her way of saying she's been gone for a while. Do you understand? Perfect. Okay, good. So I'm just going to wait until she starts talking. But there's a lot of people just behind her. There's a gentleman by the name of Henry that's just coming with her, but I'm being told he's an older generation. Yeah. Do you recognize it? Perfect. Okay, so they're starting to line up. I'm starting to see exactly what he looks like. She has 18 people with her. She makes number 19, and she was already getting my attention when we were in the bathroom, okay? But she makes me feel like your mom, Mary, has had some health issues for a while. They're on again, off again for years, and now they're starting to get more drastic. And she keeps making me feel like it's starting to go into the downhill slope because she keeps saying my daughter Mary. Do you understand it? Do you hope to take care of your mom? Yep. Because she just said, I have to tell my granddaughter before I even start talking how much I appreciate that she takes care of my daughter. Do you understand it? And she keeps saying my daughter Mary. Mary's not her only child? No. Perfect. Because she's saying to me, she's not my only child, she's the one I watch over the most. Do you understand? Okay, good. So I'm just going to leave that until she starts to explain it. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll start naming children that are here, children that are passed in heaven. And there's a father energy for you passed as well. And he's the one you were hoping for? Okay, because she said, tell her that he's coming. He's going to step in just a minute, but I wanted to talk first. She actually is bringing him through because he's the one you were hoping for. Do you understand? Okay, good. So he's starting to step in. I feel like I want to start naming all these relatives, but I don't want to take up too much of the time because I want you to have the time with your dad because he's the one you came to hear from. Because they're saying to me, he's the number one person she wanted to connect with. Do you understand it? And that's why they were saying to me in the bathroom that it was your first time. So it was their way of making me have the connection with you so you could be a little more comfortable with it. Do you understand? Perfect. Are you here by yourself? Because they said she came by herself. She wanted to connect with him. She felt desperate. She asked him to show up. Do you understand? Perfect. So that just means that's why I'm reading you first today, okay? But this grandmother, she wants to talk about Mary first because she's saying she's so sweet. This is the way I'm going to describe her because I'm seeing what she looks like, okay? What happens is they will start to step in and I'll also see the aura around them, okay? So there's like a really pretty light blue at her feet, and then it goes into like a pinky purple, and then there's a little bit of white, and then it's like a greeny yellow. It just is the aura that I'm seeing around her. She steps in. She's older. She was older when she passed because she's showing me herself as older, okay? Now she will always make me feel and have me see her what she looked like when she passed, and then sometimes they'll show me their younger version, and sometimes they get excited about that. They'll always, do you understand? Perfect, okay. They'll always show me what they look like before they passed first, okay? But she takes her younger form on the other side, and she's saying to me, she will too, because who's not going to do that? Do you understand? Perfect, good. I feel like your mom has to have care because she can't fully do everything herself now. and they're making me feel like it's gotten to the point where she can't do everything herself, and that's why the care has been stepped in. And that could be anything. It could be round-the-clock care. It could be you going over and watching her every once in a while. It could be getting groceries, simple things like that. I just feel like she's having some hard times. Do you understand? And they keep showing me medication bottles. So that's how I know she's on a lot of medication, and that there's the downhill slope of the health. So I'm just going to leave it until she explains more to me, because all she's saying to me is, I could talk to her all day about my daughter, but I want her to be able to have some time with her dad as well. Do you understand it? Do you recognize Joseph? Perfect, because there's a man named Joseph just over her shoulder, and he's stepping in just beside her, and I'm starting to see her, and he's saying to me his name is Joseph. Do you understand? Perfect, good. Remember how I said there's 19 people counting her? So Henry and Joseph are already giving me their names, which is wonderful, and that's okay. It just means that they're validating that they're here. Okay, good. I'm going to have her come and step over here because I want to see whatever else she wants to say to you and pass information to the family. If there's anything else she wants to give about the health and what's going on with your mom. She makes me feel like it was just about voicing that she sees that you're taking care of her and to thank you more than anything, and that her health is starting to deteriorate. Are you concerned that she's not going to be here much longer?
Yes, I am.
Okay, because your grandmother just said to me, the one thing she's concerned about the most is that she's not going to be here much longer. Do you understand it? Perfect. Okay. As they start to line up, there's a gentleman, he's taking my breath away. I have a bunch of pressure on my chest, and I feel like he goes like this of a heart attack. And he's starting to step in. Do you understand it? Okay, so I'm going to leave it until I'm done talking to her. Do you feel like you didn't have a chance to say goodbye to your dad? Okay, do you understand this father energy that's stepping in? Okay, good, perfect. Because he's stepping in, I know he's your main person that you want to hear from, and he keeps saying to me, my daughter is upset because she didn't have a chance to say goodbye to me. And she just feels like it's not really about closure. She just wants to know that I'm at peace. She wants to know what it was like for me because she wasn't there. And I don't want her to hold on to the guilt of not being there. Do you understand? Perfect. Okay. So I'm asking your grandmother what else she wants to say. This is what I'm going to explain to people. When I do groups like this, I might only get 5 minutes with somebody. So when I do a private or a smaller group setting, it's like 10 times the detail of what I can give you today, okay? So I feel like I'm not even touching the surface with the grandmother and the father energy that wants to step in, okay? I keep getting only daughter. You're the only daughter?
Only daughter.
Perfect. Because I'm hearing him, he's starting to step in just past her shoulder, and he keeps saying to me, there's a lot I have to say to her. She's my only daughter. Perfect. All right, I'm starting to see him now. He's a very handsome man. And he says, he makes me feel like he knew he was. Do you understand it? I'm going to start to feel him. I'm feeling him. He makes me feel like he went very fast, and it was very sudden and unexpected, not only to himself, but the family. And he was the one that was making me feel the pressure on the chest. Do you understand it? That's how I know it was his way of already validating how he passed. Do you understand? Perfect. Okay. I'm starting to see him. What's going to happen is I'm going to go back and forth between your grandmother and him as well. Okay? Okay, good. So he's stepping in. I'm getting the saluting from a gentleman just behind him. And it's a grandfather energy, and he's making me feel like he served, but it's not your dad. It just means the one grandfather stepping in. And it could be a great-grandfather, because I feel like it's an older generation. What's happening is all those older generations are lining up to give him support, because they're saying to me that he hasn't been gone very long, and he's still in the process of getting adjusted to the other side. Does that make sense to you? Perfect. Good. Okay, good. So I'm just going to let him talk to you. But he's saying to me that you're his only daughter. He's making me feel the heart attack. I know he passed with a heart attack. And he makes me feel like he not only didn't have a chance to say goodbye to you, there's other people as well. Do you understand? He's showing me the gold wedding rings. Were your parents still tied in marriage when he passed? Perfect. So he's showing me the gold wedding rings. Now, if they show me wedding rings and they turn black and they separate them, that's how I know there's a separation or a divorce, okay? So not only is it this grandmother who's saying to me that your mom's name is Mary, and they want the information passed that she has health issues, but it's also your dad out of concern for her as well. So he's stepping in. I can see him standing right here. Your grandmother's standing just beside him. Okay? So I'm just going to go back and forth between the two of them. But I'm going to let him talk because he's saying to me that it's his turn now. Even though I know she's going to say just a few things. Because he's the one you came for, honey. Do you understand it? Wonderful. Okay. I'm asking if he wants to validate anything past the heart attack. But I will talk to you about what it was like for him because he's making me feel like he wants to talk about the crossover. And so sometimes what will happen is they'll make me feel this will exit. I'll start to see the white light as far as the crossover, and they'll want to show me the crossover because it gives you more peace as to who met him, because they're saying to me that that's something you always wondered. Who was there to meet him? What was it like for him? Because it was so sudden and so unexpected, not only to him but the rest of the family, that there wasn't a chance for him to vocally say goodbye, nor was the chance for all of you. Even now, he sees that everyone has said their own goodbyes. Do you understand it? Because he makes me feel, and I'm listening to his words now, he says, they need to know that I've heard what they've said to me. And that's not only in prayer for him, because I'm seeing the praying hands, but just at the service and everything after that. Do you understand? Wonderful. Good. Who's the one that planted something in his honor? Because they're showing me the shovel. And that can be a rose bush. It can be somebody took flowers home from the service, and then they still have them in their house. And I feel like it's a plant. Good. Do you see? Because I said plant to you before you said it. Perfect. Because I feel like I'm planting it. That's how I know that you kept that and you took it home. And it's in his memory. Now, that's something very normal that most people do, but for whatever reason, he's saying that. But he's saying to me, you bringing that home, for whatever reason, gave you a really strong sense of peace and comfort about the connection with him, because you felt like it was just a little bit of peace to him, even though it wasn't. Do you understand? Okay, good. So it's just his way of saying that. Tell her I've been in her house with her. And I said, okay. Because he's saying to me, I know she feels me. She always asks us if it's me, and she feels like it's me, and she needs to know that it is. Do you understand it? Have you been saying, Dad, I know it's you? He said, she stands there and she says, Dad, I know it's you. Do you understand? Perfect. He's showing me the white pedestal. That's not only how I know that you're the only girl, but you were kind of the princess, and you were, I'm going to use the word spoiled. Do you understand it? Perfect, because he's making me feel like he spoiled you. And he makes me feel that he was not only very close to you, but you're very close to your mom, because he makes me feel like he wants to hug you. Because I can have parents that come through where there's up and down issues through the years, or there's some kind of divided separation, because not all families stay on those terms before the passing. But he makes me feel very protective of you. I'm going to tell you that he is definitely a guardian angel for you on the other side. But he makes me feel like you already felt and knew that, and that you've been feeling him. Do you understand? Perfect. I'm going to ask him what signs he's given you. Okay? So not only if there's signs that you've already connected to, you can also take those into consideration, and it very well could be that he'll name one of those, but there's also signs that he'll give you just because they want you to watch for them. Do you understand? Okay, good. I'm asking him if he wants to cover anything else about the heart attack, because they're going to start to show me the crossover. His mom was passed before him? Okay, perfect. Because he keeps saying to me, I went really quick. It was like this. I didn't expect it. My family didn't expect it. That's how I passed. I'm starting to see the white light, and there's a mother energy, and there's a father energy there to greet him. Meaning they were the main two, but there's also a sibling there as well. Meaning there was a sibling passed before him. Do you understand it? Perfect. Okay, so I'm being told they were the three main people that met him, and it's his way of just making me feel what happened as far as the passing, because he wants you to have a little more comfort and have a little more peace about when he crossed over to the other side. Do you understand it? Because he keeps saying to me, she wondered what it was like for me. She wondered what I went through. She worried if I was afraid. And it's my way of saying to her that I made it. Because she was also worried about if I made it there. Do you understand why he's saying that?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought he might be in limbo or
okay,
not
perfect.
being able to
This is what's going to happen, and that's why they're saying to you, remember when I first started talking to you about how he's still in an adjustment period, even though he hasn't been gone very long, he's still been gone for a little while. Do you understand it? What can happen with this is not everybody will cross right away, but then they'll find their way. Okay? Sometimes it's just about going to Jesus and getting the forgiveness of the sins. Sometimes there's family coming to them saying, okay, it's time, you need to do this. But he's saying to me, you worried if he was afraid, you worried if he made it. And he's saying to me, it's about some of his beliefs and his choices. And it just doesn't have to do with, that's very big, okay? But it's just what he's saying to me. And I feel like he believed in God. Do you understand it? But he makes me feel like you worried because you weren't sure if he made it there. And he's saying to me, it's not just about the choices, it's about some of the things that I chose to do just before my passing. And sometimes that can be about religion, sometimes it can be personal to the family. And the reason why they're making me feel it's vague is because I see the personal brick wall, which means he's not going to discuss it in front of the group. But I know that you understand it because you're shaking your head yes.
I know what he's talking about.
Perfect. So we're just going to leave it because I know and I know you know. But we're not going to go into the detail, okay? So he's leaving it like that for a reason, because it's only for you to understand, no one else. Do you understand?
Okay.
Perfect. Does that make sense to you?
I'm okay with that, yes.
Okay, good. But he keeps saying to me, it was important for you to know that he made it, that I can see the peaceful wings in front of his chest. It's his way of validating that he's at peace. He's safe in heaven. His mom and his father were there to greet, along with that sibling as well.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not feeling the sibling here today, but I feel the mother and father just behind him, so that's perfectly fine. He's saying to me, tell my daughter that I love her. I had to make you feel that she was my one and only because she was so special to me. I feel like there's a message for your mom, because that's why he's making me feel the gold rings, because he's saying to me she feels like you see in her, she hasn't really been the same since his passing. And he makes me feel lifelong, so that's how I know they were married for quite a while. Do you understand? Perfect. Because otherwise they'll say first, second, third marriage. He just says lifelong, so I know that's the longevity as far as the marriage. But all he keeps saying to me is, I see her concerns for her mom. We all see that she knows that she's not going to be there much longer. But please tell her mom. Okay, I'm listening to his words. It means he's starting to give me the sentence for you to then pass to your mom. Okay, so I'm just going to let him talk, because he's actually just talking directly to me right now. He's saying to me that he's with your mom often, and that he sits on the edge of the bed, meaning that he's there with her. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that. It just is his way of making me feel, just one of the instances that he watches over her. But he's saying to me that she prays for him. And do you understand that? And that she, when they say haven't been the same, there's so many things that can mean. But he makes me feel like they were joined at the hip a little bit. And it's almost like two little peas in a pod, where it's like she just doesn't feel the same since she lost him, because she was so used to that daily, day in, day out, because they were together for so long. So what he keeps saying to me is, he wants you to tell her that he loves her, and that he's in heaven, and that he's with the rest of the family, and that he's at peace, and that he watches over all of you. Do you understand? Okay, so I'm just going to see what else he has to say. But he makes me feel like he really, really watches over her, and he's very, very protective of her. But he always was. Do you understand it? Very protective of you as well. I'm only going to have him for another 2 minutes. They're making me connect back to the grandmother, so I'm going to see if there's anything else she wants to say. But all she keeps saying to me is, we needed her to know that we appreciate everything that's been happening and that's been done for Mary, meaning she's validating her daughter's name. Okay? I have 1 more minute, and then they're going to pull their energy. Your dad said, please tell her I love her and that I'm in heaven. I wanted a chance to say hello to you. I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to anybody. I know you were concerned about me. I know you worried about what I went through. So that's why I had to make, he just said this nice lady. That's why I had to make this nice lady see these pictures. And so I, do you understand? So that way I could explain to It's just his way of explaining to me. That's all it is. Your grandmother's starting to walk. I can see the peaceful wings in front of her chest. She's very, very, very loving, very old school. Old school and set in their ways mean completely different things to me. She's a little more old school. But I can see the peaceful wings in front of her chest. She's very loving.